All right. Gonna go ahead and kick it off. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever time you're watching this video. Welcome back to our weekly Lead Champ Pro call. Don't forget, if you want to tune in live, you can join us on leadchamplive.dials.com every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern. Tune in to hear new exciting things that are coming from the Lead Champ Pro company, all of the new exciting features we're adding into the CRM, all the new automations, the exciting things that are coming, as well as training on how to use them better and training and testimonials from top agents that are absolutely crushing it out. They're actually selling a ton of insurance. You can see how they're using the platform and getting better results out of it. Now, today, we want to talk about the Ignyte event that we just got back from in Arizona. Absolutely incredible. To everyone that was there, that are our users, thank you so much. It was incredible to have all of you coming up to us and recording amazing testimonials that we will be putting out on social media here very soon, so you guys can see those. But it was just so great to hear all of the people that were already having a tremendous impact on as far as getting them actual more results, more appointments booked, more people picking up the phone, more people staying on the books. I mean, I can't tell you how many people came up to me and said, hey, I love the missed payment button. It is incredible. Every time someone hits, if I see that email, it used to be dread. Now I just know exactly what to do. I go click the button, and a good percentage of them just message me back and put new payment on file. It's just that simple if you have a system to use. So thank you to everyone that came up and shared your testimonials with us. Also, we had an exciting giveaway at the event. Ended up being a very hype moment at the end when we gave away 5 lifetime memberships to Lead Champ Pro. So definitely be on the lookout. I feel like it was a huge success for us. So I expect we will do more giveaways like that in the future. So make sure if you see us at an event that you come and say, hey. And so that was phenomenal. But today we want to talk about what were some of our big key takeaways, some of the things that we actually picked up from this event. And for anyone who is an entrepreneur or a salesperson, if you've built teams in the past, you know there is something powerful about big events. Big decisions are made at big events. It's not even necessarily sometimes the people on stage speaking, but maybe it's the conversation at dinner. You know what I mean? It's when you get a chance to talk to someone who's a top producer, a top agency owner, someone who's already been making it happen and hear their insight. Or maybe you get to get critiqued by somebody at a way higher level and they can help you refine your skills and point you in the right direction. Or maybe it's just seeing somebody from the stage that you go, is it really? Like, could someone like that really be succeeding at such a high level? And you even feel a little bit bad for thinking, if they can do it, surely I can do it. But for whatever reason it may be, maybe it's just being out of your home environment, being in an environment of winners, of people that are pushing for success. Big decisions are made at big events. People come out of big events and absolutely transform their lives. And this has been the case for me many, many times throughout my career. I'm sure it has been for Josh and Jamie as well. So we wanted to share, what were some of our biggest takeaways from the event. Now, I'm going to let them take some of the big ones on the insurance side. Obviously, I do sales for Lead Champ Pro, but I don't really sell insurance myself. But there was one thing that I caught on to where I was looking at all of the biggest, fastest growing teams. And we went to some lock-ins where, there was like 70 or 80 agents in this one house, pretty big house, pretty cool house, to be honest. But like 70 or 80 agents spread out over this in the course of this one house, just banging out calls all day long, pushing the numbers up. And this is one of the biggest, fastest growing teams, in all of FFL. It was crazy to see what they were doing. And I remember when I first saw FFL a few years ago, there wasn't really the ability to have this centralized local team where you had a massive office or you're putting together these big lock-ins and bringing a ton of people in the local area to work together. And the reason why you couldn't is because a lot of the best leads were based on locking down a geographical area. Like you had to have the mortgage protection leads, the mailers from that area, and whoever had them owned them and no one else could get them. And so you could only support so many top producers in one geographical area. Well, here was the big takeaway that I got. And this is something that applies for all of us, wherever we are in our business. You want to be an early adopter, a quick adopter of the new systems, new technology, new skills that can help get you to the next level. There have been so many times in my career where I've seen a new thing come on board with whatever I was doing. And because I waited a few weeks or a few months or even sometimes a few years to adopt, I watched people rush past me and have tremendous success, right? For many of y'all on here, you probably saw that with the transition to telesales. Many people thought telesales could never be our primary best way of selling insurance, especially not things like IULs. And sure enough, here we are all on Zoom, selling insurance over the phone every single day at a really high level. And the people who took a long time to adopt that or switch that suffered by having to spend more time and more money going out and doing in homes and not having the ability to sell as much because they didn't adopt sooner. So one of the things that I believe was a big takeaway for me, something I have to remind myself over and over again, is when you see an opportunity to embrace a new technology or get a new skill or get to the next level, do it now, because the returns on that are going to be so much bigger. And I want to tie that in to Lead Champ Pro. For anyone who's taking a look at us for the first time, I get this question on almost every single demo I do. And it's heartbreaking for me, honestly, because I have to tell people this all day long. But people get on and they go, hey, can I integrate my current system that I have together over here with Lead Champ Pro and like combine them into one thing? And the truth is, you really can't do that. That's not a thing that people do with anything. Like, I've got a big, painting of a Lamborghini up here on my wall. Like, you would never go and take your Toyota and like cut it in half and like attach it to your new Lamborghini. Like, you park the Toyota, or you sell it, right? Or you give it away, or you do something with it, but you move into the new car, right? And then maybe there's going to be an adjustment period, but by embracing that new system, you're going to win at a way higher level. And so for all of you that are out there that you've been building your own Go High Level, you've been putting together your own system, you've been writing all the scripts yourself, and it's been taking you a ton more time than you expected. Okay, we understand. And you're like, I'm fed up with this. I want to just use one that's already built for me. Embrace that it's already built for you, that it's already tested, that it's already works, that we're already tracking the data and improving it on a daily basis, and just park that other thing that you've been working on and save yourself the time, energy, and money by embracing a system that will let you win today. If you've already got one built and you love it, great, stick with what you got. But if you're like, hey, I've been building and I see it's going to take me another 6 months of not selling to get this done, it's like, dude, save yourself the 6 months, lock in with Lead Champ Pro right now, and go and focus on what you're good at, what actually matters, the money-making activities, right, of actually selling insurance. So that was my biggest takeaway, from the event, was just be an early adopter, be a quick adopter to the newest things, whatever's happening. All right, I want to get out of the way here and bring on our two co-founders of Lead Champ Pro. I think Josh is actually on a sale right now. Let me see if Jamie is available to add up here. All right, Jamie, welcome. And I know you've been to many, many, many big conferences. In fact, I know you've spent big dollars to go to even leadership conferences, to get in private rooms, to be mentored by some of these amazing people. And of all the people I know out there, probably you're one of the best at encapsulating important lessons and then being able to bring them back to the team. So I'm excited to hear, Jamie, your biggest takeaways from the Ignyte event. Obviously, it was a phenomenal experience for all of us at Lead Champ Pro, but give us your perspective, being a huge agency owner, being a top producer, multi-time, multi-year top producer, and give us your biggest takeaways. Thank you so much for being on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a great event. It's always good to get around the campfire. I think that's probably the thing that I always take away from so many events, especially when we are primarily a telesales company. So I see some people on here who I know are Lead Champ users who were not able to make it to the event, and I'm sure that there's a little bit of FOMO that happened from not being there. But just getting around the campfire. We talk about the campfire effect as like the further, imagine the campfire is like the source of life. And it's like the further you are away from the campfire, the colder you are. And if you're away from the campfire too long, you're going to freeze and die. And, most of us, we work in our home offices. A handful of us are blessed to have some local offices, some people that we surround ourselves with pretty consistently. Live dials is like a really tiny campfire. And then going to an event is like getting around one of those giant pallet burns where they have, 20, 30-foot high flames versus this little backyard, campfire that we've got going. So I always take that away. I always just leave, rejuvenated. Another way I look at it is, if I look at my iPhone that's got a battery, well, that battery, it dies and I got to plug it in. Going to an event, it's like I plug the battery in. We get to 100%, and then you know what? We build from event to event to event, and plugging into live dials and things like that. The Lead Champ community, your team community, whatever that community is that you have, is what's going to keep you going and sustaining until the next event. So I know that I think the next big, they're going to do another Ignyte event on the East Coast, I believe. maybe the first week of October. It's going to be in Palm Springs, Florida. I'm pretty sure they're going to be announcing that here very soon, but that's going to be the next Ignyte event, and a lot of us are going to be involved with that as well. I'm sure that there are going to be many lock-ins that'll be popping up here over the next few months for all the various organizations that you guys belong to. And, I can't just encourage you enough to be a part of those things. Live dials is cool. Getting on a phone call with your manager, your running partner is cool, but nothing replaces that getting in a room. I hadn't been in a room, with 70, 80 people all selling in probably 6 to 8 months. And that was a really cool opportunity. There's a lot of energy, sitting down with people who were having the whole flood of emotions that were making their first sale, mixed with people who are making their 100th sale, mixed with people who are making their 1,000th sale. It was just a really cool opportunity. So that's the number one thing that I always take away from events. We always say the cheesy number one rule about events is never miss an event. And, the number two rule is never come alone. If you're trying to build your insurance agency, bringing someone to an event is probably the most powerful thing that you can go ahead and do. The second thing that I really took away from the event, just getting feedback from, so many users that we had talking about persistency. And then hearing so many people from stage talking about persistency, hearing people from stage talking about making the most out of their leads, squeezing every drop out, hearing people talk about things like referrals and emergency response network. It just gave me a lot of hope that we're building this in the right direction, the direction that agents are going, and we're solving a lot of problems that agents have right now. The number one thing that I heard from stage was it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. So from just the perspective of persistency, I know that we have a tool here that is going to help agents. You've heard Josh talk about his numbers, issued 466 last year, increased his persistency in a year by about 20%. That's $90,000 ballpark that he got to keep that would have went out the door the year before had he kept the same level of persistency. We did a demo last night with arguably one of the fastest growing teams in all of the insurance industry who's interested in getting some of their top producers and managers on Lead Champ Pro. And I've been talking to this person for a few months back and forth, and he's like, yeah, man, just another CRM, just another CRM. And then the moment that I said that it increased my persistency and it increased Josh's persistency, you go, wait. You said persistency? You didn't say anything about persistency. I'm in. And it was funny to hear because I think, again, if you're in our ecosystem, it does so much more than just send text messages and book appointments. And a lot of them do that. I think we do it the best. I think we send text messages. It sounds funny to even say we send the best text messages and we book the best appointments. That sounds ridiculous to say out loud. I think we do that, but I think everybody does that on some level. We're not that special. But what truly does make Lead Champ Pro special are the things that happen after the sale. Speaking of after the sale, Josh just put in a sale. Good work. So that means he's here with us now. But what happens after the sale is probably one of the most important things. And when I started to mention the persistency, he's like, oh my goodness, I've got this massive team that's growing, a lot of really young people, and we're doing everything off of spreadsheets and hand dials. And if you can help me with persistency, I'm in. I don't even need to hear anything else. All I need to know is that you can truly help me with persistency. And we get on with this team and we go through the entire demo. We show them the AI, we show them the appointment booking, we show them the calendars, all of that. But it was pretty obvious that when we got to the end of the demo and we started to get feedback, the feedback that was liked the most was the what happened button. It wasn't about our leads. It wasn't about how we set appointments. It was about what happens next. It's about what happens after the sale. That was the thing that they all felt like they were missing, is the ability to send out those carrier brochures, the ability to send out those policy details, and the ability to stay in contact with the client. So I truly do believe that we're building something that is, we've built something that is really right for what agents need right now, which gets me excited. And we got a lot of really good feedback and testimonies of people at the event talking about specifically what this has done for their persistency, what this has also done for them to increase credibility when overcoming objections. So right before this call started, Josh was live dialing And the first thing he did was he said, "Hey, I'm going to send you a link so I can share my screen." What do you think he shared? He shared his Verify My Underwriter website. And I can just about guarantee that that probably brought down the guards of this person, where they had no problem sharing their social security number, their routing number, and their bank info. They wanted the policy. They didn't know who Josh was, but he was able to show them who he was using, our credibility system, which is exciting. So I do believe that we're right place, right time. Whole thing, that cliche. We've got some really cool things we're working on. Last couple things that I'll say, and I'll pass it over to back to Nick, I guess, is heard from stage up. There's an entire panel on referrals. And this is something that gets me really excited. We've got 2 new buttons that are coming, our add referral button and our add emergency response network contact. Okay, so up in the top right corner, you guys have probably seen the big red button that says add contact. That's how you manually add a single contact. We talk about that in the training videos. I get excited about the add referral and the emergency response network. So currently we have something that goes out where, you know, I don't know, 6, 10 text messages into the after the sale process, we explain the emergency response network to the client. That's great. Client can fill something out. They fill it out. Their emergency response network contact is going to go ahead and get a text introducing yourself, the whole deal. Well, we've kind of revamped that entire system, updated it, made it look a lot more clean on the customer side, and added a way where if you decide to work into your presentation, getting that beneficiary's phone number, getting the brother-in-law, the neighbor, whoever the other people that can help out, you start getting some of those numbers. Or if you're someone who's really big on asking for referrals, it'll be as simple as you'll be on the contact screen and you go click add referral, and it'll pull up that button for you, and you'll be able to right there take those referrals down mid-appointment. It'll send that person a message. It'll insert your client's name in. So, hey, Josh, this is Jamie. I just sat down with Nick and we got him set up with an IUL. And he told me that he thought that Josh writes the messages. He's more eloquent than me. He told me that, you're interested in an IUL. It's going to sound better than that, whatever it says. And then that message goes out on your behalf. Same thing with, referrals, emergency response network. So that's all going to be built into the toolbar, where if you build that into your presentation, like a lot of these top producers are starting to do, those are free leads. So the other day, I had an annual review come up. We were at the lock-in in Phoenix, and I call my annual review. Everything's good. She doesn't need anything changed. But I just remembered, and this is probably the number one thing that I took away. And the only reason I say number one is because it's the only thing I've actually actionably implemented into my business. So it doesn't really matter all the cool things you hear unless you implement something. I was on the phone with her and I'm like, well, I can't sell you more insurance. I was like, oh, by the way, you put down here that your daughter's the beneficiary. Would you mind sharing your daughter's phone number with me so that I can put us in a group chat and let her know about your policy and let her know that if something happens, she can call me? And now I've got an appointment with the daughter, and that's a free lead. So that's something that we're building in, that is already built. We just need to really turn it on and make sure that all the buttons work for you guys. But that is done. Just needs to be implemented. The add referral and the add emergency response network. Before, it was just they could respond to a postcard or they could respond to a text. Now we've got it built in where you can manually do it for them. So you can work it into your appointment script. So you make the sale and you go, hey, by the way, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate my service? And they always say 10. You go, okay, great. Who else do you know that would like that type of 10 level service? Give me 3 names. However you want to do it. Everyone's got a million referral scripts. And then you open up the button and you grab those names and numbers before you get off the phone. So if you're someone who's old school that goes, I always get referrals, now you're going to have a way where you can capture them right there before the call is over, send out a text message to those people right there before you even get off the phone, which is super exciting. So I'm really happy about that. So those are the main things I took away. I'll go ahead and pass it back to Nick.
Excellent, Jamie. Thank you so much. Always bringing incredible value to the calls. And I'm going to bring Josh up here as well. And before I pass it over to Josh, I just want to piggyback one thing off what Jamie just said. My very first sales job was selling Cutco cutlery, and we were not allowed to call leads. We weren't allowed to call the phone book. We could only call referrals. And so we drilled on referrals. And we always ask for referrals. And this is a big tip that I picked up that almost doubled the amount of referrals I got on average. Okay. Throughout your appointment, whenever you're meeting the client, this happens. I know this happens with insurance appointments as well. People will bring up their friends, family, neighbors, coworkers by name. And if you just write those names down, when you get to the end of the appointment, this is how I would always start people off. I would, by the way, just for some credibility on this, my average across every single one of my appointments with Cutco for 5 years was 32 referrals per house. Okay. So I get 32 names and numbers written down. Now it's easier when you're there in person to like bully them a little bit into putting more down. But when I would get started, they'd be like, I don't know anybody. And I'd be like, well, you told me about your uncle. We saw his picture on the way in up on the wall, your Uncle Billy. What, give me Uncle Billy's number. And they're like, oh, okay, you're right, Uncle Billy. And it's like, and you mentioned your sister has no can openers that work whenever you're doing the presentation. So make sure you put your sister down. So the beneficiary is one, but if they mention any other friends, family, neighbors, coworkers by name, when you come back at the end, all you have to do is just ask to get those numbers to get them rolling on who else they know. So I just want to throw that in there. By the way, if you paid $50 for that lead and you get one referral out of it, now you paid $25 for each of those leads. If you got 3 or 4 out of them, all of a sudden now you're paying $10, $12 for those leads. Like, it dramatically reduces your cost per lead and increases your ROAS proportionally if you can get a referral off every appointment. So just want to piggyback that in. Josh, thank you so much for being on here. I know you were busy closing down a sale as we were kicking off the call, always closing, always grinding, always just crushing it for Lead Champ and for your agency. So guys, if you don't know Josh, he's a top producer all the time. He's got a top agency. They're growing fast. They're killing it. Josh, what were your big takeaways from the event, man? I'll pass it over to you.
Awesome. Yeah. So I guess I'll start kind of just piggybacking on the referral thing. And then I'll give my big takeaway. So which kind of leads into my takeaway. So it all works, right? One thing that I would suggest, here's like some specifics on the referrals. So we were at a lock-in and there was this, I guess I can say this now because I was the young guy in the room and now tend to be the old guy in the room. Guys, we did a lock-in. I just want to throw Jamie under the bus here for a second. We did a lock-in with a bunch of young people, and he goes, "Hey Josh, when did you sell your first life insurance policy?" Which forced me to answer in 2007, which I think there were people there that were born in 2007. So it aged me incredibly quickly. I was very, happy about Jamie doing that to me. So thank you. Um, but anyway, at a different lock-in we went to, there was a young girl who sold $20,000 of premium during the lock-in on just referrals. Okay, so this isn't like stop buying leads and referral training, but this is like you should do it. You know what I mean? Like we're talking to people every day, and my big takeaway is it's not that complicated. If you're trying to sell more, it's not that complicated. If you're trying to get more referrals, it's not that complicated. If you're trying to sell more annuities, it's not that complicated. And if you want to build a big team, it's not that complicated. Why do I say that? Right? I was talking to a friend of mine who's very talented, multi-time Hall of Fame producer, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I learned so much about like team building and stuff." And I'm like, "That's great, but like you sell Hall of Fame every year. Like most people don't do that. The problem is you and I and we're just not like out recruiting and building every single day. If just, if you're on here and you're like, yeah, I would love to build a team. If you did it 2 to 4 hours a day, not even as much as you sell every day, how big would your team be in a year, right? Like if you went and worked out every day, how much more fit would you be? Like it's not that complicated. What if you asked on every single call about somebody's retirement 401k and told them there's a solution for them? If you did it on every single call, you would stumble into some annuities. You just would, right? And that comes back with referrals. If you asked on every single call, would you get more? Yes. Would some of them buy just out of sheer dumb luck? Yes, absolutely. It's not that complicated. We love to make things complicated. And I said on stage that poor salespeople make simple things complicated, and great salespeople make complicated things simple. So here's how you can ask for referrals very, very simply. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm just an idiot like everybody else, and I haven't been doing anything with them, and shame on me, but this morning I did. So every single time, let me tell you a story, and this is why you must do this. Okay. So if you have not been collecting phone numbers and saving the phone numbers of your clients, you are doing them a disservice, and here's why. So a couple of years ago, I enrolled, a guy for insurance in the home. And, the application did not ask for the beneficiary's phone number. So, of course, I didn't put it down. I'm just filling the information in on the application. So the guy dies 6 months later. And so I get a notice from the insurance company that it happened, and I reach out to the guy. They're like, "Hey, we can't get a hold of anybody." So I'm calling him. I'm driving by his house. They're sending mail, doing everything to try to get a hold of somebody that lives there. Of course, he's dead, so no one's picking up the phone. No one's at the house. No one's returning any phone calls or anything. And so I go to Google and I start searching like next of kin, and I found his ex-wife. And I call her and I explain the situation, and she was upset because the son was the beneficiary, not her. And so she's pissed because she wants the money and she won't give the son my number or vice versa. She's like, "Nah, not up in here. You can go you know where." And so to my knowledge, that man, his family never got the insurance money. And whose fault it is mine because I didn't have any numbers. And so if you don't collect everybody's phone number, start doing it right now today. And here's what I say to get their number every single time. I've never had anybody tell me no. Okay. So we get to the beneficiary part. "Hey, Sheila, who's your beneficiary?" They rattle off whoever it is. Now I get to the phone number part. "Hey, what's their phone number? We want to make sure we have a good number on file so that if something happens, they can be notified about the policy." No one's going to say no to that. It just sounds like something we have to do. They know they have to. So you get their phone number, right? And then, especially, how many times do people try to put down a minor, right? "Oh, my kids," and they're like 8 or 12 or whatever. It's like, hey, like, yeah, we can list them, but a money, like, if you die tomorrow, they can't have a bunch of money. Let's put down one or two contingent beneficiaries. That's a good idea. Just tell everybody, "Hey, that's a good idea. Let's just put somebody just in case." You know what I mean? And then the same thing. "Hey, what's a good number to put on file so that something happens, they can be notified about the policy." And I would tell you, put it also in lead champ. So in the beneficiary spot, I put John Smith, quotations, brother, phone number. So if something ever happens, I have it. Yes, the insurance company has it, but who knows? Maybe something happens, we get locked out, they don't let us in, whatever. I want to have it because I'm the one that told them, "Hey, we're going to make sure this pays out." And then, like Jamie said earlier, it's super simple. I asked the guy this morning because I knew I was going to talk about this. I said, "Hey, um, do you mind?" He's like, "Yeah, it's my girlfriend." And I was like, "Hey, do you mind if I reach out to her, let her know I'm the agent? If she ever has a question, that she can call me." He's like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." It's not that complicated. I promise if I do that 10 times this week and 10 times next week, I'll probably have 20 or 30 or 40 referrals, and some of those people will buy just out of numbers. You know what I mean? We call leads. We do all these trainings and use this word track and da 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 da, and it's all great stuff. And some people have better results than another. But if you just do enough numbers, it will work out. That's the thing. That's why I love it. Okay, so start doing that on referrals. We're gonna have the button, and so if you reach out to them, whatever, you can either send them the link and they can fill it in, or you can fill it in form and the text goes out. Very amazing. And again, the whole underlying theme to Lead Champ, again, is I have bad habits, right? I am not trying to build a CRM that we can sell and make money. Now, that would be nice if that happens one day. I am trying to solve my own dead brain problems, right? I forget to follow up. I forget contacts. I forget to do the things that I'm telling you to do, right? I am messy and unorganized, and my office that looks so nice right now would not do so if it wasn't for my organized wife. So I have to do things that make myself do the things that I know to do, right? And that is Lead Champ. And that's why all the things that we do, they have worked because they're real problems that I face. And without pointing fingers, you probably do too. And so, again, it's just not that complicated, right? If you're brand new on here or you're on the newer side and you haven't started hitting the numbers that you want to hit, like, yes, can you skill up? Absolutely. Can you learn more things by being around the environment and learn these really cool word tracks and ways to say things? Absolutely. This is the place to do it. But like, if you just spent all day on the phone until you sold somebody, like, do you think it's realistic that you just spend all of your effort, all of your time doing something and you don't like get a result out of it? Probably not, or else you would have not signed up to do this or quit right away. It's just that we sell ourselves short before we give ourselves enough time to get a win, right? We go, well, I'm going to make a few calls just to see what happens, right? I'll try to ask for a referral one time to see what happens, right? I try to recruit somebody and they didn't work out. I don't know if I want to do that again. Like, that's a bunch of BS, right? If you really want the result, just do it until you get the result and you'll get better along the way. And like Jamie said, right, being around, especially telesales, here's what I noticed. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but we sit in front of our computer screens all day, right? Like if I reach out my arm, the computer screen is all of 12 inches away. And with that said, we focus on our problems that are 12 inches from in our face, right? Oh my gosh, the leads must not be working because I haven't sold anything this week. Or, this thing happened, so the world's coming to an end, and all the things and the roller coaster of entrepreneurism that we all go through, and it seems like everything is so big. And then you go and you get like out of your office and away from the screen and around other people. And we were in Arizona, and me and Dawson Bruce, we went on this hike, and we're standing on top of this mountain. He got a little woozy, I do gotta say, but he made it. Um, I almost had to give him a piggyback on the way down. That'd be weird, two grown men piggybacking down a mountain. That didn't happen. But we're standing on top of the mountain and we can see as far as everything as you can see. And I'm like, how cool is this, right? Like last week was frustrating for me, just all the things that can happen in life and business. And then I'm up here and it all seems so small. I think there's something to just getting around other people, right? Our problems seem really, really big to us. The saying is, if you put the world's problems in a big bucket, you'd be the first one to pull your own back out because it's just not that complicated. And then you can see a little bit farther. You can go, oh, you go to an event and you go, I remember why I did this, right? I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this so, I can provide a better life. I'm doing this so my daughter doesn't get mad at me and I can actually buy her a tree house, right? Like we remember why we started and all of the problems of what's my closing ratio and what's my sit ratio and are my texts going through and is it the perfect wording? It's just not that complicated. So that is very simplistic, but that is what great salespeople do is they make complicated things simple. And if it's easy to understand, it's easy for our customers and our prospects to say yes. Nick, back to you.
Okay, incredible. And it's amazing how many times you go through these events and it's like your biggest takeaway was your same biggest takeaway for 10 or 20 different events, Josh. Like I'm hearing you talk and I'm like, dude, how many times do I have to have someone come and slap me and be like, hey, focus on, like, keep the main thing, right? Keep it simple, stupid, keep it super simple. Just focus on the money making activities. It's that simple, right? Like, and what you said about being a top agency builder as well. You're like, what if we had, talking to your friend or talking to the other top producer, what if we had spent a few hours a day working our hardest on building our agencies? How much further along would we be? I think a lot of people resonate with that. I think a lot of people feel that on their skills, they feel that on their savings, they feel that on their fitness. Like, what if I had just, and like, what I would encourage everyone on here to do is if you are feeling that type of way, if you did go to the event or you didn't, or maybe you had a takeaway on this call, don't forget, you can draw a new line in the sand today. You can say, hey, today's a new day, a brand new start. Everything that happened yesterday doesn't matter anymore. Make a new decision, okay? What you do now is what matters, okay? And if you go to an event like this and you have all these powerful takeaways, but you come home and to Jamie's point, you don't actually apply something, it won't matter. It won't matter at all anyway. So find the thing that you can do today to go make a difference. Maybe it's just that you start clicking the what happened button after your sales, because we know that you guys don't do that, by the way. We see the people whose sales pop up in our system, and we see the people that we know make sales that aren't pushing the button, and we're like, don't you want that thank you card to go out, right? Don't you want those payment reminders to happen? But like, once again, it's one decision to embrace the new thing, to forget that old one and go and do it. But once again, no matter what failures you had yesterday, it doesn't matter. You can change that today. So Josh, last thing, I'll say, just a plug for, upcoming stuff, because I'm getting a lot of questions about it. I know we've been saying like the dialer is like 2 weeks out for like 6 weeks, guys. At this point, we don't even want to tell you a time. Obviously, we're just trying to make sure it's good, right? I know a lot of people out there prioritize speed. You can probably tell with Lead Champ, we do try to get things as good as we can. We're trying to make it as best as we can. We're trying to constantly improve it, just like this new improvement to the referral gathering system, just like another improvement I know Josh is working on behind the scenes with our postcards that are going to make those even better and even give you the ability to potentially send out a custom postcard whenever you want. Some cool stuff that's coming with that. The dialer is coming. We are working on it. So please forgive us on that, as well as affiliate commissions, okay? Warning for all of you guys on here, if you've already referred us people and you haven't signed in and connected your bank account, on the 15th, I'm sending out commissions. So if you have done that, be looking for that on the 15th. Message me if you see anything missing in your account. If you haven't done that yet, message support to get your link to log into the affiliate portal and check to make sure your commissions are okay and connect your bank account before the 15th when those goes out. So Josh, Jamie, thank you so much for being on to share your biggest takeaways. All of you that are part of the live audience, thank you so much for being here to help us record. And if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the bell, make sure that you see notifications when these videos come out. More coming next Wednesday at noon Eastern at leadchampliveDials.com. Now let's get back to dialing.